I'm going to open up to questions. Anything you wanted to talk about? Again, we're going to run with approximately 30-minute format. If it takes a little bit longer, that's okay. I think there's still some confusion with the time change. So there's a few of you on now. I think we'll get a few more added on. We are starting at 9 p.m. is the moving forward time slot on Wednesdays for this meeting. I also want to remind everybody, if anybody's interested in stock, we're running that at Tuesday at 8:30. If you're interested in stock, I'm doing a little stock session on that time too. So I'm going to open it up to questions. Anybody have any questions or anything they want to talk about tonight? I have no deals that have been sent to me recently, so I don't have anything to analyze. Unless you have something, if you do have something, please send it to me. I can analyze it with the group. Okay. Okay. Talk to a guy who owns and rents. He is netting 1,000 per month at the moment. He just started. Do you mean, look like you were talking about, scroll a bit more. Okay, let me see. Okay, so always, okay. I've invested in a project in Dominican Republic, spacious, one bedrooms are starting at 120,000 US. It can be paid with a deposit structure of 60,000 in the first year and 50% financing by a local bank over a 3-year period. Interest is 5%. Properties can be rented via Airbnb. Talk to a guy who owns there and rents. He's netting 1,000 per month at the moment. He just started. If interested, shoot me an email. Okay, well, if anybody wants to shoot him an email, you can shoot him an email about that. I can't say much about that. You know what? I don't know what the cost would be. You know, taxes, maintenance, insurance in that area. So I can't speak to it. Again, right at the end of the day, Nicola, you're just right. You're running the numbers. If the numbers make sense, I mean, and they're real. You're saying that the guy nets 1,000 per month. Is that right? And this is an Airbnb, right? You can check it out. Scroll. Zero tax in the first 15 years. Yep, and local websites. You don't pay taxes on this in 15 years for the first 15 years? That's quite the wow. No tax. Okay, so a couple questions. What is the tax after 15 years? What's the percentage? Maintenance is 100 per month. So $100 covers everything. And what occupancy do you need to make 1,000 a month after expenses? Yeah, okay. What's the occupancy rate that you need? Because let's see, I mean 1,000 a month net. You know, if we take that and we multiply it by 12, right, for a year. Let's look at that. So 12,000 divided by 60,000, right? That's what you got to put up. It's 150 per night. So 150 per night is 1,800 a month, right? No, wait, sorry, 4,500 a month. So minus expenses. What are the expenses? So you have the $100 maintenance. There's no tax. Is there any kind of strata or condo fee or something like this? Occupancy was based on 10 days per month. So I assume expenses are 500 because 10 days would be 1,500. 500 would be expenses and 1,000 he keeps. Is that right? %20 management fee. Okay, that's 200 plus 100 maintenance. Right, so that's 300. That's it? Oh, okay. So that leaves you about $1,200 a month if you can get 10 days. So every third day, basically, of the month. Hmm. Management will be 300 to 1,500. You mean management of the gross? Is that what you mean? They charge you on the gross income? Oh, I see. Okay. So if it was full every day, they would charge you $1,500. But that would be one. That's 33% though. That's a third of the income. 20% of whatever was occupancy that month. So full occupancy would be $4,500. 20% would be $900. So how does it get to 15? Or is that just a typo? Manager will be 300 to 1,500. If you get more, you mean? It's 20% is flat, right? That's just a flat number. Okay. So this friend of yours, does he live in Toronto or does he live there? Okay. So how many of you are interested in this this project? Anybody interested in this project? Anybody on any from the group? Are you anybody interested in this project? Seems pretty profitable. You got to run the numbers, obviously, and Nicola has run the numbers. Anybody? Okay. I was going to suggest that you do a presentation on it. I don't know if anybody's interested in it. How many would like to see a mini presentation on this project? Okay. All right. Okay. Do you think you could have something put together for this project next week and do a presentation for the group? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, if you want to do that. If anybody's interested, they can look at it. But if you want to do a little mini presentation on the call, okay. Personally, me, the developer. It's it's the third project. Okay, so so the developers in Toronto are there. They're Canadian. The developer. They're they're there. Okay. Are they Canadian by chance? No. Okay. Just curious. I mean, not a deal breaker. U.S. citizen. Okay. All right. Okay. So why don't you put something together and we'll do a little mini presentation on it next week. Does that sound good? Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Good enough. 300 a month from the beach. 300 meters from the beach. I guess if it's yours, you can go anytime you want to, right? That's true. Okay. All right. So we'll have a little mini presentation for that next week. Also, if there's anybody that has a power team member that they want to bring on to the group, and let them speak about their business and what they can do to help, I'm open to that. I like the idea of sharing resources. So if anybody wants to do that, please let me know if anybody's interested in that. Or obviously, if you are in the business, Nicola is in the business. So he's a real estate agent. So I mean, he can also speak to that next week if you'd like. Anybody else who's interested in that, just let us know. You can let me know right now if you want, and we can schedule some time on the call for you to do a presentation and talk about your business and how it can help other students, other team members out. That's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. Okay, great. Any other questions? So we'll do that next week, okay? And you can actually, I'm pretty sure. So you can when you're ready to do that, let me know, and we can upload the files, and you can do a little presentation for everybody, okay? And I'll let you be able to. I think I can make you so you can. So if you have a speaker or a mic, I can allow you to get a voice in there too. So the stock group is on Tuesdays at 8:30. Tuesdays at 8:30 for stock. No worries. Little bonus if anybody wants to do it. I talk about the stock market and what's going on. Yeah, no problem. Ken. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's open to everybody. Open to everybody. Same link. Same link as this one. Yep, same link. Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern. Yeah, no worries. just Tuesdays and Thursdays now. Just Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. So any other questions real estate related? Okay, good. If you want, yeah, you have a contact in Ottawa, that's awesome. So if anybody, that's perfect. That's the kind of stuff you want to use each other as a resource. After repair value, well, the easiest way, two ways to do it. Two ways I'll mention. One is talking to a realtor. Realtors are very good at assessing market value in the retail sense. So ARV means after repair value. So after repair value makes the assumption that the property is in a retail state. Now, if it's in a retail state, someone like Nicola could tell you, you know, he could tell you what that property's worth in a retail state. So a realtor would be one, the easiest one, right? Your realtor as a power team member would be perfect. The second way, obviously, is to do an appraisal. Now, you know, that might be there's going to be a cost associated with that. I would go the realtor route. Trusted realtor can give you an assessment pretty easy for them because they can run the numbers on it based on its location, based on square footage, the number of bedrooms. They'll do comparables on it and they'll give you a great estimate. And they're very good at that. That's their business, right? They sell retail, so they know it better than anybody. What the market will take for that property. So I would tell you that realtor would probably be the number one choice there. Is that some kind of speculation? I saw a couple times that people posted ARVs even without repair being done just on planning phase. Yeah, that's a fair assessment from a I mean a realtor who knows what they're doing. Yeah, they'll tell you that. The realtor can tell you what the retail value of a property is, right? Retail means there's no problems with it. So, Henry, when you're looking at a property, if the property was in perfect condition, someone can tell you, more specifically, a realtor can tell you what that's worth. So you're not, there is obviously speculation because it's a future event. Can the market change in the period that the first assessment is done with your realtor and the time you sell it? Sure. Is it likely to be off by any considerable amount of 30, 40, 50%? That's unlikely, because what they're doing and how the retail market works is based on comparable sales, during a period. Most recent period is the best period of a property. So if someone's telling you the ARV is so and so, obviously you'd want to confirm that, and this is why you want your own realtor to confirm the value of that property. Now, realtors are going to give you, they could do it over the phone, give you comparables on the retail value of a property. Obviously, they can give you more information if they look at it, but really, the retail value is the retail value. The market determines that based on transactions that are, comparable in the same area around the same time. More recent is better. Sometimes you don't have that. Some areas, properties don't sell that much just because they don't go for sale. When they do, they're taken relatively quickly. So again, a realtor would be able to give you the most accurate, assessment in my view, because that's their market. They deal with that. Properties that were property renovated and staged. It's insane what is happening in the moment. 2-bedroom condo in Mississauga just had 31 offers. 400 to 600K is burning at the moment. Huge demand and low inventory. Yeah, so I mean that's just he's giving you a quick assessment there, and he's letting you know that the ranges and there's a high demand. 31 offers is definitely high demand on a single property or a single series of properties. Individual properties getting that many offers is huge. That being said, I mean, obviously, and you can see the range, 4 to 600K, huge demand for that range. That could be, somewhat because of the plan that the government's doing with the kickback of 10%, up to 10%, interest-free loan. It could be partly because 30-year mortgages now are a thing. And we might, it won't be crazy to see 35 or 40 from other lenders. So, these things will create a bump in the market for the time being, at least. So, again, great source, somebody who's, got their ear to the ground. Realtor is going to have, that kind of information because they deal with it daily, because that's what they do, right? They sell retail properties. Any comments or questions about what I just covered? No problem. It's not crazy to see the market, continue to grow this year. A big boost with the changes with CMHC, the 30-year mortgage, longer extended mortgages, plus, incentive programs with 10% max interest-free loan. I think it's, the range of 400 to 600. I don't know if the 600 would be eligible, but the lower end, $500,000 under, are going to be affected most likely by that program. So we'll probably see the 200, 300, even 100, I'd say, even to the lower end, values up to, $500,000, start to see them um, push up in value based on these programs. House are selling like hotcakes. I've placed 4 offers and gotten no houses. Wow. Okay. So the properties that you're offering on, are they in a retail state? Are they, in good shape? Are they rehabs? What kind of properties are you putting those offers on? Just curious. Flips. Okay. All right. So market starts to rise. Definitely, there's demand for flips. Um, Again, the key thing, and that's great. You're putting those offers out. I love that. Don't be discouraged. I hope you're not discouraged. Um, I think that the key is to make sure you know your maximum offer price based on your numbers, so you don't get into a deal and not make any money. That's not good, right? That's the main thing. So it sucks, four properties, 4 offers, and no houses, but you're never putting yourself into a bad deal, right? That's key, to make sure you're not putting yourself in a bad deal. Because I know everybody wants properties, but you want to make sure the properties make you money. So it's there's some strength and confidence in being able to say no, right? And being able to put out an offer, and if you don't get it, you're like, well, then there was no money for it. There's a lot of people out there that will take less or will do the work themselves and not pay themselves really anything, and wait till the end of the deal to make money. Um, there's a lot of risk associated with that. So you want to make sure that you run the numbers and you run them right, and that's what's going to allow you to profit in any deal. Now, if you only do, one deal in the next 12 months, that's fine. At least you know the deal is a good deal and you're not putting yourself in a compromising position. So that's great. You're active. That's awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. Out of curiosity, when I have a mortgage of 25 years and I sell the property in the first 5 years, do I only pay the rest of the principal, or I have to add the interest too? So, Henry, based on that, I mean, you can do your mortgage several different ways. So if you lock it in for 5 years, you have a 25-year mortgage, which is the amortization. Whatever's left on the mortgage needs to be paid, right? When you sell the property, that's what needs to be paid out. The bigger thing, or one of the big things to consider, Henry, more specifically, is the term that you lock yourself into. So if you lock yourself into a 5-year term and you break that, typically there's a penalty uh, for that mortgage, right? Because you've broken the term, 5-year term. So there's going to be some sort of penalty. Typically, it doesn't. I mean, it's not a lock, but you're gonna reach out to the bank and say, look, if I break the 5-year term, what's the penalty? It might be 3 years, 3 years, sorry, 3 months interest might be the penalty. You know, uh, even after the term ended. So if the term ended after the 5 years, if the term ended after the 5 years, no, you'd be in a variable rate. Is that what you mean, Henry? You're in a variable rate? No, it's not locked in at all. Because after 5 years, okay, so it's fixed for how long though? So if it's okay, so if you sell during those 5 years, anytime during those 5 years, typically there's a penalty because you broke the term, right? See, they what they do, yeah. So what the bank's doing is saying, look, we'll guarantee the interest rate, but if you break it, there's going to be a penalty, right? Because they're guaranteeing it. And and what's interesting, what I've learned from the U.S., is the U.S. does not have that. There is no penalty breaking for a lot of the institutions because the competition is so fierce. They'll let you break your mortgage, 30-year mortgages, with little or no penalty. So it's a very, very competitive market, and that's great for the consumer. In Canada, it's not as competitive, so they can issue a penalty. So in that 5-year period, yeah, you typically will pay a penalty. Best thing to do, obviously, is to call your bank and say, well, if I break my term, what do I owe? And they might say it's 3 months interest. They might say, I don't know what they'll say. It depends on the agreement that you made with the bank and the mortgage that you signed. Uh, aside that, whatever's left on the mortgage is what's paid out. Now that's paid out directly from, normally, you sell your house, the bank, needs to be paid out, right? There's a, on-demand clause in your contract that says that if you sell the house, the mortgage has to be paid immediately on demand. So if you sell it, the bank immediately gets those funds first. So if you sell a house that's $500,000 and there's 300,000 left over, you don't get to keep the 300. That extra 300 gets paid immediately from whoever's paying the money out, right? Because there's a registered lien on the property, and the on-demand clause forces that money to go to the bank, which makes sense when you think about it, because that's their security. And if you sell it, then it's unsecured, right? They're not going to be okay with that typically. So the best thing to do is to talk to the bank, the institution, say, look, if I sell my house, what's the impact? If I break my term, what's the impact? What's left on the mortgage? What do I owe? Blah, blah, blah. Cost, fees, to do that. That's why a 5-year mortgage, or 5-year term, my apologies, 5-year term, something you wouldn't do on a flip. You flip the house and you ended up getting a mortgage for the house, and you weren't doing it on a cash basis or with cash, you wouldn't have a 5-year term if you knew you were going to sell the property in 90 days, right? That wouldn't make sense. The one thing you might be able to do, Henry, depends on the type of property, and what you're doing, but you could port the mortgage. A lot of mortgages allow you to port the mortgage to another property. So you could take that mortgage and, port it over to, instead of breaking the term, you could port it over to another property. If you had another property that you were buying, in the required time frame. So you sold a house, but you bought a house, you can a lot of them allow you to port the mortgage. So you take the mortgage that, say you have 3 years left on the mortgage, you can take the 3 remaining years in the whole mortgage onto the new house. And that might be, so you sold a $500,000 house, there's a 5-year term on it, there's $300,000 left on it, and there's 2 years left on the term. You can take the $300,000 mortgage in the 2-year term, and you can transfer it, you can port it to your new property, attach it to that property, and anything over and above, you'd have to get approved, and the rate might be different, but the original rate would be the same, and you would not be breaking the mortgage, which would save you some money. Mortgage has that plan that I can carry over the mortgage. Yeah, there you go. That's porting. Yep. What if exactly on the 5-year I have sold, as soon as the term finishes, it translates to someone else? Does it count as breaking the term? No. If the 5 years go by, though, before your 5 years are up, typically often your institution is going to send you a letter, and they're going to say, do you want to renew? Do you want to renew your mortgage? And what do you want to renew? Do you want to renew for another 5 years? Do you want to make it open mortgage with a variable rate? So if you knew you were going to sell your property, it would make sense to probably to not lock into 5 years and go with a variable rate, because you're going to sell it in the short term. Right? Now, variable rate is subject to changes in the interest rate. So, you might pay less than the standard rate that's available to you, because it's variable and subject to change on the interest rate, the overall bank rate. So it could go up on you, right? Typically, interest rates are, in the normal economy, relatively slow to move. They don't move 6 and 7 points at a time. But you never know, right? That's the risk you take with variable rate. So they tend to give you a smaller rate cost because you're taking the risk of variability. So a variable rate has no term like a fixed rate. I mean, like 5-year term for fixed rate. That's right. You could do a 1-year term. You could do a 3-year term. You could do, whatever you want. Now you got to understand, though, Henry, you're subject to changes in that rate. Your mortgage payment can actually change month to month. If the interest rate changes, your mortgage rate could change. So, you want to keep that in mind. So, there's some satisfaction in knowing what your mortgage payment is for the next 5 years, or if you're in the U.S., 30 years, right? You know the exact what you're paying over a 30-year period, which is awesome. In Canada, typical term is 5 years on a fixed rate, but you could go longer. A lot of institutions offer 10-year rates, 10-year fixed. You're going to pay a little bit more, obviously, because the bank's taking a risk over the 10-year period that interest rates are going to move up, and you're locked in at a lower rate. So variable rates, some people like variable rates. They like to pay the least amount for their mortgage. They're comfortable with the change or the risk of change. That's totally up to you. If you know you're selling a property, though, it's you might want to consider variable over fixed because there's no penalty associated. So the fixed, the variable rate allows you to sell the property without any penalty. So yeah, but they'll reach out to you. I mean, they'll let you know. Like as your mortgage comes up for renewal, they're going to ask you what you want to do. So you will get a letter, or they'll reach out to you. It's totally up to you what you do at that point. But it's good to know if you're selling a property, and the impact of it. That's why it's best to call the institutional, let them know. I'm thinking of selling the house. What would be the impact of my mortgage? If I break the term, what's the penalty? What's the exact outstanding mortgage? So you can work out the numbers and you know exactly what you're dealing with. Like anything else, right? Run the numbers, and if the numbers make sense, then move forward. If not, then you have to readjust or find another way. Okay, folks, we are 9:32. Good. I'm glad that was good. Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, I want to remind everybody again, our call starts at 9 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday nights. The stock will be at 8:30 Eastern on Tuesday nights. Obviously, you know how to reach me in between. You can reach me via email if you have any other questions. Next week, we're going to run with a mini presentation from Nicola. He's going to show us a little bit about a project he's involved in, and maybe give some insight on opportunity. All right, good. All right, so we're all good. If you're good, type in yes or Y. Awesome. Okay. If anybody's working on a deal or something they want me to review on these calls, you know what to do. Just send it to me ahead of time, and I'll be happy to share it with the group. Want to thank everybody for coming, and good luck hunting this week. Hopefully, analyze a couple properties this week, if not more, and keep putting out those offers. Good job, Diana, doing that, and the rest of you putting out offers and making things happen. Don't be discouraged if you don't get accepted. You know you're not getting into a bad deal. All right.